Hi friends, Prepared Suburbanite here. I started this YouTube channel a couple of years ago with the idea that it might be a great platform to share my journey, my experience, and my skills with the community that is interested in being prepared. And I think I've been somewhat successful in being able to do that. And I wanted to kind of fall back on what I call the Prepper's Creed. So stick around. All right, my Prepper's Creed kind of starts out like this. I shall provide me and my family with the basic necessities for survival. That means shelter, food, water, and security. I shall learn, practice, and become proficient with skills needed to survive when the shit hits the fan. I shall adopt a lifestyle of preparedness, meaning gaining knowledge, skills, the 5 C's of survival, being disciplined, sacrificing, developing organizational skills. And I shall embrace opportunities to engage others to become prepared and self-sufficient by sharing my knowledge and experience with others. And I shall become as self-reliant as I can be. Now that means being debt-free, and that means organizing your stockpiles and your inventories so that you are prepared. Now those are just my first initial thoughts on what the Prepper's Creed really needs to encompass. Be very interested in hearing from my loyal subscribers and friends and viewers to add to what the Prepper's Creed is and what it means for you. Being prepared is a lifestyle. It's not just something that you do on weekends. It's not something that you just do once in a while. It's not something that you do when you feel like it. It's a lifestyle, and it becomes and should become a day-to-day activity. It should become a part of your daily routine. You should be preparing and be prepared always for every eventuality. Stay up with the news. Stay up with the current events. Stay involved with your community. Learn and find out what's going on in your community and be a part of what's going on in your community. That's going to help you be prepared and stay prepared. Take care of yourselves. Health-wise, visit your doctor, go to the dentist, do all those things that you really need to do to stay healthy, engaged, and vibrant so that you can contribute and keep up your end of the bargain with the Prepper's Creed. Let me get into a little bit more detail about the components of the Prepper's Creed as I see it. Provide for me and my family with the basic necessities for survival. That is shelter, food, water, and security. Those 4 things are absolutely required if you're going to survive for any length of time in a situation where the S has hit the fan. So, do you have the right kind of shelter? Do you have the right kind of food? Do you have the fuel necessary to prepare the food? Do you have enough water to use to help prepare that food? Do you have enough water to drink, to cook with, and to wash up with, available for a minimum of 2 weeks? But more importantly, for even a longer period of time than 2 weeks. And then security. What have you done to secure your home, your property, that kind of a thing? Do you have a home security system? that can alert you to intruders encroaching on your property or encroaching on your house? Do you have the right kind of locks installed in your home? That kind of a thing. Are you armed? Do you have handguns? Do you have a rifle? Do you have a shotgun that you can use to defend yourself, your family, and your property in the event the shit hits the fan and there are marauding groups around willing to take what you've got at gunpoint? Are you going to be able to provide the security necessary to safeguard yourself, your family, and your property? Answer that question and you'll have your plan. Next component is I shall learn, practice, and become proficient with skills needed to survive when the shit hits the fan. Well, you know, when I first got involved in kind of die-hard prepping, there was a lot of things that I really didn't understand. My wife and I think she's been a prepper all her life, but we decided we needed to learn and practice canning. We planted a garden. We ended up with gazillion tomatoes and green peppers and corn and potatoes, all that stuff you grow in a garden. And then what are you going to do to preserve that food? So we invested our time, we invested some money, and we got proficient with canning. And it really has been a lifesaver in a sense for us. We can put up tomatoes, we can put up spaghetti sauce, pasta sauce, we can do just about anything. All the vegetables that we grow in the garden, a majority of those get canned so that we've got that kind of food stores available to us. Got a closet full of the stuff already. Carrots and beans and sauces and tomatoes and you name it, we can it, we got it, and it's a lifesaver. So those are the kind of skills that I'm talking about. Yeah, there's bushcraft skills like fire starting and that kind of stuff that can be important if that's the kind of fan that you're worried about the S is going to hit, that you're going to need to be out in the woods rubbing sticks together to build a fire. But you probably should have a basic understanding of the requirements for building a fire. What do you do when it's raining? How do you get a fire started? Do you have a fire kit? Do you have a ferrocerium rod? Do you have tinder available so that you can start a fire in dire conditions? Well, we do, and it's taken time to amass that kind of stuff, and it's taken time to work with it, practice with it, and become somewhat proficient in actually doing that. When we go to our bug out location, I try not to use any of the modern conveniences of life. So when we start a fire, I've got a ferro rod, I've got some tinder, and that's how we start the fires. Yeah, I've got Bic lighters and I've got a few other things that we could use, but in order to practice, I take the opportunity when we go up there and I need to build a fire to practice with that fire building kit that I've got, and it seems to be helping out and it seems to be really working. The skills you need: self-awareness, situational awareness, operational security concerns, defensive strategies for your property. Those are the kind of skills that I'm talking about that you need to study up on, learn, take a class, go to those kinds of group outings where you can learn about self-defense, where you can learn about getting your concealed carry permits, those kinds of things. I think it's very important that that becomes part of your everyday prepper's creed. I shall adopt a lifestyle of preparedness, meaning knowledge, skills, the 5 C's of survival, the discipline that you need on a day-to-day basis. Are you willing to make sacrifices? Are you willing to maybe not go out to dinner 1 or 2 times a month like you've always been doing, and taking that money that you would have spent on a on a steak dinner at the Outback Steakhouse and applying that to your food stores in your home. We did, and I think it really paid some dividends. We don't go out to dinner as often as we used to, and I know how expensive it can be when you go out to dinner. Just for the two of us, it can be anywhere from $50 to $75 just to go to a nice restaurant and have a nice meal. Well, $50 to $75 buys an awful lot of security when it comes to food stores. Freeze-dried, canning, that kind of stuff, very important. Organization. Some folks just don't have or haven't developed organizational skills. And I know I got lazy. When we first moved into this house, I thought, oh my goodness, got a double garage, I've got 2 cars, doesn't get any better than this. Well, it wasn't too awful long, and I had to park the second car out in the driveway because the garage started filling up with stuff that we didn't know what to do with. There was empty boxes, there was piles of extra this and extra that around, very disorganized, very unorganized, and I pretty much worked that second vehicle right out into the parking lot, and that's where it was for 3 or 4 years. When I got serious about prepping, that was the first thing that I tackled, was that garage. I got the garage cleaned out, I got it organized, we bought some shelving, installed that shelving, made sure that we understood what we had to do and what we needed to do, how much space we were going to require to keep our food stores, to keep our water, that kind of a thing. So it was pretty important to stay on top of it, to develop the discipline and redevelop those organizational skills so that we could effectively store the stuff that we needed to survive. And the last item on my creed, on the Prepper's Creed, is I shall embrace opportunities to engage others to become prepared and self-sufficient by sharing my knowledge and experience. Well, I tried to do that with this YouTube channel. I try to do that with the prepper groups that we've been involved in the past. I've led our local chapter in a prepper group community. I've since somewhat drifted away from that because I think we were all going in different directions, and there really wasn't a good common thread there that held us together. But sharing knowledge with your friends, sharing your experiences with friends, with family, with neighbors, so that they can benefit from what your experiences and your skills have been. And it's also going to reduce their dependency on you, because they will become much more sufficient, much more prepared, if they actually follow your advice, so that they will be less reliant on you for their survival when the shit hits the fan. This is the Prepared Suburbanite reminding you to be prepared always, and I'll see you on the next video.